You are listening to the Black Arts Love Radio Show here on KYIZ 1620 AM. I'm your host, Miss Malika, CEO and founder of Black Arts Love. And today we welcome Jeffrey L. Cheatham II into the studio. Welcome, Jeffrey.
Hey.
Yay!
Yeah.
I see you bring that energy.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
Yeah, so we're happy you're here to join us. And so just a little bit about Jeffrey. Jeffrey was born on October 9th, 1985, but he didn't discover why until 1990. This was the year that his father introduced him to his favorite reading material, comics. Jeffrey immediately became fascinated with the creative worlds that comic books exposed him to. His favorite comics that he loved reading were Batman, Spider-Man, and the Archie comic series. Ooh, I love the Archies.
Yeah. Hidden gem.
Hidden gem. As a result of his love for comics, Jeffrey wanted to be a part of it by writing stories of his own. Jeffrey wrote his first book, The Family Jones and the Eggs of Rex. Jeffrey's idea behind the Family Jones series, as well as the message behind the books, is captured in the tagline, "Family is the magic we all can create," a lesson he wants to pass on to his beautiful daughter. His follow-up, Why Is Jane So Mad?, tells the story of how kids deal with negative emotions. Jeffrey is also the founder of the Seattle Urban Book Expo, where he brings authors across the Northwest together to promote and share their work with the community. Jeffrey's goals are to write and publish as many enjoyable stories as humanly possible. Jeffrey resides in Seattle, Washington, where he plans to create an atmosphere for people to always pursue their dreams with childlike ambition and imagination.
Oh, wow.
Yes, Jeffrey, we are so glad to have you here today. So tell us about your love for writing and how you got started writing.
So my love for writing comes from, okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm bored. So I decided to create my own world.
Okay.
And that's where my writing comes from. I just want to create an environment which I want to live in. And books are the best vehicle to do so. And children's books, I'm a father, so it gives me an excuse to be a weirdo for my daughter. So, so that's where that comes from. It's just wanting to live in my own world.
Okay, well, tell us a little bit about, I know I'm familiar with your book, Why Is Jane So Mad? That's the book that I believe we first met behind,
Yeah.
So I love the artwork in the book. I love the storyline. Can you talk to us about the process with writing that book and any lessons learned? Just, whatever you can share about your journey with writing that book.
Yeah, so Why Is Jane So Mad? That was my follow-up to my first book, The Family Jones and Eggs of Rex. And it started off with me proving to myself if this is something I really wanted to pursue with being a writer. So the starting process behind it, I wanted to create a book that had a message for our community dealing with emotions and things like that, because I would go to different schools and read to the kids. And, of course, there'll be a couple of kids who were labeled problem children. Right, like there's a problem child. He has a attitude problem or a behavioral issue. All these, psychological words that he label our kids with. Mm-hmm. And when I would speak to the children, it's always something. It's always either their dad's not home, their mom works a lot, or their mom and dad are arguing. And what blew me away was the fact how easy these kids were willing to open up to me, even though I was a complete stranger, just walking in and reading my book. And then I look back on it. To me, we in our community, this is only my personal opinion, we always seem to push away emotional issues with our kids. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, he has an attitude problem or he's stuck up or whatever like that with the kids, but we never we've never asked our kids, hey, what's up with you? Or, hey, what are you thinking about? Or what are you feeling? Because most of the time, our children don't know how to verbalize what they're going through yet, so they act out in tantrums. So Why Is Jane So Mad is a story about two kids playing in the park. Jane, she's mad about something, and her friend Chad is trying to cheer her up by doing different things that kids do, cartwheels, balloons, sing songs, but nothing he does works with her. She still rebukes him with that attitude problem. And then towards the end of the book, you find out why she's so mad, and then you'll be like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, that's why she's mad. So,
When I got it, I was like, this is phenomenal. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Now I know why Jane's so bad.
Right. Like, right. I get it now. Yeah.
And I think that's what one of the things that I enjoy from your writing, and I think many of the people who have bought books from you and continue to support you, they like about your writing is you do kind of offer that suspense, but you bring in the social issue, but in a light way.
Yeah, in a light way, yeah,
You know?
because it's very important. And I feel like as a writer, my job is to record what's going on in my present time, to record what's going on in my community right now. And, like, it's cliche, but the kids in our community really are our future. They carry on our lineage. So as the adults, as the parents, we have to make sure that we create a great environment to clear out the debris in their way so that they be as successful as possible. And the one thing that we need to highlight is our emotional and mental state. Not to get too heavy, but that's just, it's like to realize that, hey, what you're feeling is, we all feel this way. So what can we do to solve whatever issues may come up based on what you're feeling, what you're thinking?
And you're a father, so what is it like? What's some of the debris that you see happening in young people's lives?
Oh my gosh. Oh man. It's like as a parent, you're aware of everything, because you want to make sure that your kid is as happy as possible. Like, you want to make sure that your kid is always playful and joyful. So that means I'm such a cynic with everything. I look at TV, I'm looking at all the hidden symbols, and I see what you're trying to do there. Change the channel. Reading books, like I know what that word means. And you don't realize as a parent how much subliminal messaging is in kids' literature or kids' programming or entertainment, and it's like, what the heck are these people doing?
It's
man?
deep. We study that in communications, and it's deep, and it starts at a kid level. It starts with children's, like you were saying, with the TV shows and with the books and the media that's out there.
Yeah, and it's like, what y'all doing? And then you realize, I know what you're trying to do. Like, you're really trying to create, like, mold our kids' brains into a certain way so you can do whatever you want to, like sell them or have them thinking and stuff. And it's like, whoa. So that's why also I feel a responsibility too as a parent to pursue this endeavor of being a children's book writer, so that way I can feel all right with myself knowing that I'm doing something to create a positive environment.
Absolutely, and you're doing a wonderful job.
Oh, thank you.
So I was wondering, for the listeners out there who may just want a little taste of your reading, are you able to give us a sample from your book today?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey.
All right. Let's do this.
Yes. Now, he reads at libraries and within the schools and all over, so we're in for a treat.
Right. Freestyle Saturday.
We can just pretend we're kids right now.
Just drop these bars, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's real out here in these streets. I got to let my truth be known.
It's real.
Ain't that all rappers? No. Okay.
Do we need to drop a beat?
Yeah,
okay.
Drop the beat. Okay, seriousness. Okay. So the book that I'm about to read is my second one, Why Is Jane So Mad? Oh, let me give a shout out to my illustrator. Her name is Ebony Glenn. She's from Atlanta, Georgia. She did a wonderful job with this book.
Beautiful illustrations. Beautiful.
A beautiful day today would bring. The sun is beaming and the birds will sing. We see two kids. The boy's name is Chad. The girl's name is Jane, and Jane is mad. Chad was a kid who was always glad. He just couldn't see why Jane was so mad. To cheer up his friend, Chad came up with a plan. It will work. It has to stand. He made silly faces, sang a silly song, even did a handstand that lasted very long. After 2 cartwheels, Chad shouted, "Ta-da!" But Jane shook her head and said, "Stop it, bah."
I love it. She said, "Stop it, nah."
Bars.
Bars. You dropped them.
Hot as out here right now.
Yes. So we know the inspiration for writing your book, and I'm sure there are a lot of writers out there that are listening or have approached you at community events and, at some of your readings or however, when you're out and about. And they probably, has this question come up about how do I become a writer? What's the process for writing a children's book or any book? Can you talk to us about that, your process? And
yeah, absolutely. And which is, hold on. Excuse
he
me.
has to clear his throat. You know, he dropped all those bars.
I know, right? Yeah, too much flame going through my throat. Too much flame. Yeah, and also too, it's starting to bug me out because it's like, why are you guys asking me questions like I'm some kind of expert? But I guess they look at me like I'm doing a lot, and it's still, I'm still trying to grasp exactly what I'm doing. I'm just in the moment. I don't really look at it from the outside. But anyway, to answer your question, so what I tell authors or people who aspire to be authors is just write it down. That's usually is the hardest part. Is like speaking to my man earlier, is step one. The first step is always the hardest step because once you involved in the process, it's a lot easier from there. And also, I took it. I actually started to teach workshops on the writing industry. I just did one for the publishing industry, traditional versus self-publishing, the pros and cons of both. We had that at the Renton Highlands Library, and we have another one coming up, creative writing workshop at the same library on October 21st.
Okay.
And that was just my way of giving back, because when I first got started with publishing my book, I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know of anyone out here, especially a black writer. Like I didn't know where they were to ask those kind of questions. So I had to teach myself everything. And the process was very, very long, very, very tedious. So I decided just to do whatever I can to help whoever comes behind me to get their process started a lot faster. So,
can you tell us again when that workshop will be in October, later this month?
October
and the time.
October 21st. It's at the Renton Highlands Library, and it starts at 2 p.m.
2 p.m.
2 p.m.
Yes.
Creative writing class. Pretty much, I'm going to teach you what I know about creating a story and how to format character development, story arcs, and things like that. Just, it's free admission. It's at a library, so the kids can come get a book, read a book, and so hopefully see people there.
Yes, I think that's wonderful, which kind of transitions into your work involved in the Seattle Urban Book Expo, which you are the founder of. Can you tell us how that got started and what it is you do through the Seattle Urban Book Expo?
So when I first started with my books, The Family Jones and Eggs of Rex, I was at a point where I didn't know if I wanted to do this anymore. I didn't know if I wanted to be a writer or whatever. And then I asked myself, did you give this 100%? And I honestly answered no. And then I asked myself again, so what would happen if you did? And immediately, a week later, I was invited to go to Toronto, the Toronto Urban Book Expo. And out there I met my new best friend. Her name is Stacey Marie Robinson. She runs the Toronto Urban Book Expo. She invited me out there, showed me so much love. And when I went to Toronto, mind you, it's in February during NBA All-Star Week. And I never experienced that type of cold. Now, Seattle, we haven't experienced winter like East Coast winter.
No, we haven't.
Negative 11 degrees with a negative 20 wind chill.
Not fun.
No, it's not fun at all. And I had Seattle clothes on, which means it was just like a North Face jacket. I didn't have the I'd have the big jacket, so
Jeffrey.
It was painful. It was painful. I don't know how people in Antarctica do this stuff, so I don't know. It's like, no.
You got to layer up.
I got to layer up. So when I went out there, I experienced flavor because I saw nothing but black and brown writers.
That's
all
beautiful.
Getting along, different kinds of book genres, all that good stuff, and the music was on point. And that's why I fell in love with my new favorite music genre, which is soca music, because that stuff is popping out there. And then when I returned to Seattle, I realized that there has never been anything like that here. There's never been anything like a black book expo.
I don't
here.
remember one. Yeah.
Yeah, and if there is, I don't mean disrespectful, but based on my research, I haven't seen one. So, and that was the time I decided to write my second book, Why Is Jane So Mad? And at first, I wanted to do a book showcase for that book, but then I connected with some people down at Black Dot, and they suggested that I do a book fair. And then I was like, yeah. And then I told them about my experiences with Toronto. And then I created the Seattle Urban Book Expo. It's kind of like the whole if you build it, they will come
Mm-hmm.
type deal.
Yeah, if you build it, they will come, and you have also promoted it as well. So, I mean, every week we would see you out. If you don't follow Jeffrey on social media, I definitely encourage you to do that.
Active.
Yeah, he's very active. And he's the kind of brother that will not only, go out and he sells his books to anyone, anywhere in the community, but he'll also interview other artists and put them on the spot and share that information with his Facebook friends and his network. So big ups to you for that.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So speaking of social media, how can people get in touch with you if they want to purchase a book, or follow you, learn more about how to write, your workshops, all that you have going on?
So my website is www.jaytheauthor.com. Jay is spelled Jay, the author, just like it's spelled, .com. My Instagram is J_L Cheatham 2, and L is spelled EL, like the Spanish way.
Okay.
L Cheatham 2. My Twitter is J Cheatham, at J Cheatham. This is a lot of social media handles.
And Cheatham is spelled?
Cheatham is spelled CheaTham. Cheatham is putting together. And also the Seattle Urban Book Expo to follow us and to learn about the updates going on with the organization. We have a Facebook page, it's Seattle Urban Book Expo on Facebook. And a little bit more about the Seattle Urban Book Expo. The main reason why I started it was opportunities for authors of color to showcase their work for the community, and also to create a community of our own, so that way authors or writers who are from here, who are moving here from other places, have somewhere they can call their own, and have people who think like them, who know what they're going through with creating a writing piece and things like that. Because it's not just books. I want to create a writing community, because I wanted to showcase that we have an opportunity to replicate what our ancestors did in the Harlem Renaissance and all the literature from our, forefathers and foremothers,
Yes.
what they did. And it's really important, especially in Black culture, because that's how we know the real truth of what's going on in the community. And that's what I really wanted to create when I created the Seattle Urban Book Expo.
And we're so glad that you did. It's a wonderful platform. All right. Well, thank you, Jeffrey, so much for joining us today.
You.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
And, many, many blessings and continued success for you and your work as an author and your work with the Seattle Urban Book Expo.
No, but you need a shout out, though, Malika. Let's talk about what you're out here doing with these market.
I knew he was going to put me on the spot,
Yeah, let's talk about the real truth out here, how she doesn't, she only gets 2 hours of sleep a day because she's trying to make sure people get opportunities to build their businesses and things like that with Black Arts Love. Let's give Malika her just due, because she's out here.
It takes a village. I can't do it by myself.
Right.
I have a team.
You need some kudos.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, it's because of the community and it's because of the team that people who have stepped forward with the vision behind Black Arts Love. So, and of course, I give all props to God, who put the vision in me. So we're just doing the work that we're called to do.
Yeah.
But thank you.
No, absolutely.
All right. Well, you guys have heard it here. Jeffrey Cheatham II in the house. We are so grateful for him coming in and joining us today. And we're going to go to a break right now. We'll be back after the break.
KB here and JB here from Game Time Sports Talk, reminding you that October 28th is the date for the Z-Twins annual coat drive. We'll be collecting new and used coats for all ages. Your donation will go a long way in helping to keep someone warm this winter. Drop off your donations to 2600 South Jackson Street in Seattle. If you drop off your donation before October 28th, make sure your items are bagged or boxed. The coat drive is a community service of the Seattle Medium newspaper, 1420 AM KRIZ and 1620 AM KYIZ, where service to the community is our most important product.
You are listening to the Black Arts